There we go. All right, so this is the information session for the Career Coaching Practitioner course. I just want to start off by acknowledging that actually there's three of us here who are going to be speaking with you, Norm, myself, and Shobna, and we are all joining you from the traditional ancestral and unceded territory of the Hunky Meenum speaking Musqueam people, and are just thankful for this space and this place to join you from and learn and live and play. I work from home, so this place is so much more than it's all of those pieces for me, and I'm just grateful for this place to be here. And I also want to just acknowledge that you are all joining from different locations as well, and each of those locations that you're joining from do have their own histories, and whether you're in Canada or somewhere else in the world, I just want to recognize that and give you a moment to reflect on that as well. So today we are going to be talking through some of the key pieces, things you might need to know about the Career Coaching Practitioner course. I'll share my screen so you can see what the plan is here. Here's the plan for the next hour or so. We'll just introduce ourselves and talk a bit about the course, what the Hope Action Theory is. We were starting to have some of those conversations even before we hit record here. Who this is for. You might be wondering if this is a course that suits you, what that looks like, and what you can expect to learn and receive from the course. We'll talk through registration, process, and logistics, and answer any questions you might have. Maybe we could start. Thanks, Danelle, for offering your own acknowledgement in the chat, and maybe we could even just start by suggesting if you do have a question, like if you're joining this call with a question in mind already, if you want to drop it in the chat, that would be great. If there's something you're hoping to get out of this time together, put it in the chat, let us know, and we can try and make sure that we touch on the things that you're wondering about or the questions you have as we go. I'll just give you a minute for that. Maybe as you do this, feel free also to, as we go, if you have questions, raise your hand, put your question in the chat. The three of us will be monitoring the chat and we'll try and sort of answer as we go. Why don't we start though by just introducing ourselves. So there's, as I said, there's myself, Shobna, and Norm, who is listed as Amundson on Zoom. We're all here and we're here to talk about, I'm going to change him to Norm. There we go. Now you're Norm. We're going to just, we'll talk through some things, but we'll start by just introducing ourselves. So my name is Andrea. I am one of the instructors for the Career Coaching Practitioner course. I also teach and am a mentor coach for the UBC's organizational coaching program. And so sometimes the career coaching and organizational coaching have some overlapping questions as we go through the course. And I come at this work from a coaching lens. I have been working, Norm and I have been working together for a very long time. Norm is also my dad, and so we work together. I completed the coaching program, and we've been working together in the career development space since then. So, yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to get to work with your dad. We have traveled. Last year, we were in goodness, Sweden and Iceland and Denmark, working with all the career practitioners there. We've taught this course all over the world and are really happy to be bringing it actually to Canada and offering it here in Canada where we both live. My background is in coaching, organizational coaching, but I also have a background in art and fine arts. And so I'm really interested in that interconnection between creativity and coaching and learning more about more creative ways that we can engage in conversations. I'm the developer of the Hope Action Theory certification program that I've taught with Norm and Dr. Spencer Niles. And yeah, it's fun to be here. Norm, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Well, I really enjoy doing this course. It's a lot of fun. I'm now emeritus. I've taught at UBC since I guess I started in 1975. So I've been was there a long time, but and I actually was one of the people that helped develop this coaching program. And so as the discussion we had a little bit earlier before we started taping, this shift from counseling to coaching and what that is. I've really been involved and engaged in that, and think that it's a marvelous course to teach. I think it's a really enjoyable for most of the people I've talked to about it, and it's a highlight for me. As I kind of wind down my career a little bit, this is you get to choose what you want to get involved in, and working in this course and working with Andrea, it's been terrific, and just the students and the people I've met through the course have also been really a real benefit. So that's who I am.
Great. Shobna, do you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you, Andrea. I was not in this world when Norm started teaching this course. But I've definitely been inspired by the work that he's done, and with Andrea being a very good friend of mine too, and being a very big part of my own career transition. The reason why this course was so pertinent to me as a coach as well was because I have transitioned from so many different backgrounds and careers. I don't even know where to begin. I started in engineering, and then I went into pastry, and then I went into entrepreneurship, and did hospitality for about 20 years, and then realized that there's so much more that encompasses us as human beings, in terms of the work we do, why we do it, and how we can actually be a part of the lives that are important to us and for those who are important to for like I think it goes both ways. And so what this course did for me was really enhance the way I coach in terms of career transition, where you're really kind of defining hope as a skill that you can actually build on. You can build it on through reflection, through visioning, and through action. And that's the one part that is sometimes the precipice of why we engage in coaching conversations. And the introduction of the career wheel is so vital in that, as part of a living system. And the way we have these career conversations has really changed the way I coach, especially in career transition spaces, or even with youth. You're trying to think about, I have a kid who is 16. He's in grade 11 now, trying to decide what path he's going to take. Like all of these skills that you learn, and even through mentorship conversations that you may have with different people in different stages, it is so important for us to have these ways of navigating these conversations without imposing our own perspectives on it. So they have their agency to find out what is true and right for them. So I think that's what this course gave me, and I'm really excited to be here and have Andrea and Norm walk through, what this program, also this course brings to you, and hopefully we're able to answer some questions that may come out of it. So thank you for this space.
Yeah, thanks, Shobna. We do have a question about can any of this certificate be transferred to university credits for a degree? No, it cannot. It's part of the extended learning program. It's an adult learning course. We'll get into like what you do receive. There's a certificate of completion as well as a certification in Hope Action Theory that you will receive at the end of it, but it is not a university credit course. And yes, decisions, which program to take. There's lots of good ones out there. All right, so let's talk though about hope. That's been coming up. And so maybe we can just introduce to you the idea of the Hope Action Theory. This is the theory that really is foundational in this course. Norm, you're one of the founders of the theory, and we've been working with this theory for a number of years, but you were part of the development of it. Do you want to talk through and just sort of explain what it is?
Sure. I mean, this, really comes about over many years of working with career development and career transitions. And one of the things we realized is that a center point for all of this is hope. Then you can see the model we've used, the pinwheel there, and the idea that hope is really a center point that we all want to get to. And we look at different competencies, different ways of kind of getting to that. And you look at things like self-reflection. And we separate out actually self-reflection and self-clarity, because reflection is just who am I? Where am I going? What's this life about? That kind of thing. That's the self-reflection piece. And when you get to self-clarity, it's sort of what are my interests and my skills and what kind of a person am I? What's my personality? What's my values? You get into more of really tightening down on those aspects. And then there's also another competency is visioning. And we do spend a lot of time looking at, what is the future? Where am I headed? What have I come from? Looking back, looking forward. How do you navigate that journey? Through all its different facets, and of course, visioning is part of that. And then there's also planning and, setting goals. So, there is that kind of, where am I going? What am I going to do? But you got to make it also more, rested on a solid base. So you do have some goal setting and planning and actually putting it into action. And that's where the implementing comes. What are you going to do with this? And how do you, exploring and taking chances, looking at different pathways. And invariably, something's not going to go quite right, or something needs, fine tuning or changing here or there. So there is this idea of adapting is really important. One of the ideas we work with is something called positive uncertainty, that we need to be positive about what we're going to do, but also kind of a little bit uncertain as well. And you need to hold, and I think we live in an age of paradox where we have to hold these things that don't seem to fit together, like being positive and uncertain. How do you put that together? But we need to hold both of those as at the same time. Another example of that is planned happenstance. We need to have a plan, but also there's an element of luck and happenstance and so on that goes into it. So all of that to say that's kind of the personal exploration piece. But there's a huge element of the environment, the people that are influencing you, the social situation, the economic situation, how to deal with all those kind of external influences. And what does that mean? And more recently, we've been even looking with what is the stick that holds this all together? And for that, we look at a concept called mattering, which is how do the relationship, the sense of, do I matter? Do I count? Am I important? Am I significant here? And creating a sense of relationship, creates of personal importance and significance, and then building it out from that with all these competencies that we think builds hope. And the exciting thing for that is that it isn't just good feeling we have about this. We've done quite a bit of research. I've been involved in a lot of different research in the last decade or so, and we're getting some fantastic results in terms of how it's making a difference for people in all sorts of different ways. The most recent study is working with people who've gone through addictions and how it's helping them through that process. Also with people who are immigrants and refugees, people who are working in urban settings versus rural settings. So we've worked and sort of looking at this as an evidence-based kind of theory that we're checking it out. We're not just saying, well, these are some good ideas we've come up with. We're actually working with it, and so that's the practice element where you get into what do you do with this. And Andrea, turn that back to you for that.
Yeah, thanks, Norm. And there really is a practice piece to it. And so there has been a lot of research around this theory. And so this is where this is the foundational sort of element to this program that we're teaching. And so what we have is we have sort of this foundation of the hope action theory model. But then, as Norm mentioned, there's been a lot of research and different ideas have been explored within that. And so active engagement was one of Norm's books and actually is the foundation for um, a lot of the interventions and approaches used in the research that is happening. And so that's part of what you're going to be learning in this course is not just sort of the big ideas about the theories, but also the very practical tools that you can take away and put into practice immediately with clients that have been used in the process of research in this theory that we know work to activate people's sense of hopefulness. With that, though, we also look at coaching and counseling and those two sides and really taking a deeper look at who are you, how do you coach, kind of connecting that into self-reflection and getting you to really not just learn things that you take out and apply, but engaging in the process of learning by doing. And so you are participating and learning and engaging in the exercises that we teach you as a way to really understand not just how to do it, but how it feels and what that experience is. And there's a bit of a balance there between the doing and the kind of the tools and the activities, as well as thinking about the being side and who are you and how are you showing up for the people that you're working with and connecting with, and how can you really meet them where they're at and make them feel like they matter. Because if there's no stick in the ground, the pinwheel is going to lie flat on the ground and won't be very effective. So all of that kind of sits inside this external circle of career development. And when we talk about career development, it's easy. Often when people think about career, it's like the name of the job or the resume, help with my resume. But we take a bit of a broader look at it, and that's why we call it career development. And think more about how are you spending your time? And if we think about this idea of career in terms of how are you choosing to spend your time, how do you make decisions in your life, your career might be going to school, it might be staying home with children, it might be a volunteer job that you really love, it might be something paid. And so we kind of take an expanded view of what that is, looking at how do we support people as they increase their sense of hopefulness, which we know helps people build momentum, helps them make decisions more effectively in their career, whatever that career might look like for them, which is different for everybody. Shobna, do you want to add anything to this?
Thanks, Andrea. I do think that the amount of discovery that you have within yourself also progresses as you're in the course, because I think it shades. I think just adding to what you said about your own style of counseling or coaching. It really adds that element of, how it gives you agency as to how you would like to approach the conversation, but also opens up a different pathway for navigating these conversations. But what I really loved about it was the research-backed ideas and tools was very approachable for clients as well. So that approachability is really important because these conversations can be quite vulnerable. Sometimes a lot of people have, a lot of weighing in terms of like their identity that is part of their career. But to expand that thinking as to more about, who they are beyond that requires a little bit more of reflection. And I think that's what this course kind of gave me for that. So thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, something I am just seeing there's actually two questions here that I'm just going to answer quickly. There is not a link to the Career Professionals of Canada organization at this point. I don't know. That's not something we've really pursued at this point. And in terms of it being eligible for the BC Employer Training Grant, I don't think so, but I'm not sure. So I'm not 100% sure on that. So you might want to, that would be a question for extended learning. There's a contact number, I believe, on the website for the course. You could reach out to them directly and they'd be able to give you a better answer than I can. Sorry. All right. Let's talk about the book. So this is the course textbook for the course. It is Career Wayfinder. It's a client-focused workbook, and essentially it walks you through the process of what we're going to be doing in the course and covers some of those themes. And so it has that foundation of hopefulness. Norm and I wrote it as a bit of a companion to this course, but it's actually, it's going much farther than that. And I think it's being translated in Iceland, maybe. But anyways, this is just a book that as part of the course, you'll be expected to get and to work through yourself as well as with your client. And there's a series of exercises, and it's very much like a hands-on learning experience that goes through a career wheel and helps you think about who you are from the perspective of what are your skills, what are your interests, your values, your personal style, your significant others, learning experiences, work experiences, and career opportunities. And we explore all of those different pieces with yourself in the center as a way of understanding you, taking a bit more of a holistic approach to understanding who you are. And then also sort of reverse engineering it and putting a career in the center and going backwards and thinking about for a nurse, like what would their skills be and interests and values and so on. And so some of the work that you'll be doing is connected with this book, and you can get it on Amazon if you're interested in even taking an advanced look to get a sense of what's involved in the course. You can do that. One thing that we often get asked, and I always smile when I see photos of our previous cohorts, is who is this for? Like, is this suitable for me? And this course, this kind of connects with the question here. How is it different from the Career Development Practitioner course? It's quite different. This is much more of a relational course. I actually just met, I think last month, with the cohort from last year who are continuing to gather and learn together even after the course finished. And so in the career coaching or the career development practitioner course, you're going to learn about theories and ethics, and it's a little bit more of a foundation for people who are wanting to work as career practitioners. This is I think this is actually a broader course and much more creative course where you will learn about metaphors and you will learn, we'll get into what you'll learn, but they are quite different from content to structure. You'll find that there's there's very few similarities in them, actually. Norm, do you want to say anything about that? Or have I covered
Yeah,
that?
I think that this course is really more focused and probably it's offering a quite a generic sentence. I mean, yes, these exercises and these things are applicable to career, but they're applicable on a quite a wide range of issues. So it takes more of that kind of a focus, and also it's a little bit more in depth, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, and so it's the types of people that we see participating in this course often are coaches who are wanting to expand their toolkit. I think that actually more people are having career conversations than they realize often. And so coaches, we get therapists are also joining the course. Sorry, I'm just seeing your comment here. Yes, it does. It will give you, we do get people who have completed the career development practitioner course who come and take this, and it really does help deepen and strengthen their skills in working with people. We have people, though, who join us who are working in HR. And so there is a bit of a range of backgrounds. We're not only opening this course to coaches. I think it's really interesting, actually, to have people have conversations about where they're having career conversations across a range of industries and backgrounds. It will, though, be helpful for you if you do have some familiarity with what it looks like to have conversations with people around career. What it looks like, you will be asked to find a client and work with a client for the duration of the course. And so some comfort of or understanding of what that means and how to go about working with a client in that way might be helpful for you. Um, but that said, like some people join the course with very little experience. And if you're somebody who is just willing to jump in and try it and maybe not need to have everything figured out in order to kind of start having career conversations in a bit more of a structured way, then this would work for you. We tend to get a bit of both. And then you kind of all end up serving as resources for each other as well, which really helps form community really quickly, which is a really nice thing to see. And we do actually really like staying connected with the people who take this course. And so many of them I still am in contact with and emailing with, even like 5 years ago, I still am in connection and we're still in contact with people who have taken the course if they reach out with questions or want to kind of talk things through. So this is not just a course that you're going to come and take and be done and then you'll never see us again. Sorry, you're gonna hear from us, and hopefully we'll hear from you too. And we kind of view this as entering into a relationship together of learning, and we really like that connection and growing together. Um, uh,
Andrea, there's one thing you said earlier that I think actually bears repeating, and that's the whole idea about the creativity in this course. There's a lot of emphasis on being creative and dynamic and doing and going beyond just giving somebody a test and having them fill out the answers and things like this. This is really something that works with visualization and metaphors and lots of rather kind of unique and interesting ways of working, which gets ignored in many of the other kind of courses in the career area, unfortunately. So it's very powerful. I mean, the kind of activities you're going to learn here, they work and they're good and they quite engaging. And but it does require you to sort of jump in both feet, be ready to sort of try something new and different, and be ready to see where it goes.
Yeah, that's true. It really is. We don't have any tests in this course. We have more like recordings and webinars and engagement in conversation and sharing reflections. And so really working to not just say like, okay, here's you have to learn this in order to pass this course. Instead, really that focus is on, are you growing as a person? Are you learning from the inside out and understanding who you are and how are you developing? And that's the piece that we're most interested in. You don't have to be an amazing academic writer to take this course. That's not what this is about. Being able to engage actively in learning is really the thing that we hope for the people who participate in this course. And if that's what you're interested in growing in new ways and learning new creative ways to work with clients, then this is the course for you. It will probably be unlike most other courses you've ever taken, and that's quite intentional. And so yeah, and if that's not you, if you really like memorizing and learning that way, this might not be your course, and that's okay too. And so just kind of understanding what you're hoping to get out of it and clarifying that for yourself will be helpful to think about.
Andrea, do you mind if I add a couple of things to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, just from experiencing the course, I do see that there's some here who are either currently in the organizational coaching program, but for those who have not experienced that sort of learning, there's so much benefit in learning through a community of like-minded folks. And so, what I found really unique about learning in this cohort was that you did have more than coaches. You had other career practitioners that come in with different dimensions, some from, other higher institutions, and just kind of learning how to navigate different careers at different stages of life and having those reflections and being able to discuss that in community through the chapters was really helpful. So kind of expanding your own thinking in terms of how you can navigate these courses on top of like the actual theory that you learn and the tools that you're given was one additional bonus that I thought was really helpful in terms of growing my own skill set in navigating these conversations.
Thanks, Shona. So some of these questions around what will I learn? Here's sort of a bit of an overview of what you'll learn, but you'll learn about the hope action theory model, and you'll learn about it in more depth than I think you'll learn about it anywhere else in the world. You'll learn how to use the Career Wayfinder workbook as a resource in order to support clients. And then you will also, the thing we always see is we see people engaging in the course and engaging in these like reflections and conversations within the cohort, and at the end of the course we always see an increase in confidence in just your ability to have conversations and to engage in coaching conversations with people, whether they're career focused or not. Still kind of that confidence really does increase. You will learn evidence-based approaches to career conversations that are also creative, and so many strategies or tools or whatever you want to call them. People sometimes will say at the end of the course too, like, I feel like my tool belt is bulging or overflowing with tools that I can pull out and use with clients. And so there's kind of that balance, like I talked about, of the being and who you are, but also the tools, and like, what do you do when you sit down in front of somebody for a half-hour conversation who is trying to make a decision? How do you help them with that? And you will know how to help them at the end of this course. We love metaphors, and I mean, Norm, you've been working with metaphors for as long as I can remember. And so a lot of the work we do does have kind of that root of, there's a metaphor, of metaphors, and so many different ways of thinking about metaphors. And we also do talk a lot about uncertainty and how to think about navigating uncertainty and those kind of messy moments when you have that panic of, oh no, what do I do now? What do I say? Oh no, I don't know how to help my client. Like, how do you actually work with somebody in that and understand your experience of it as well as your clients in order to help them moving forwards. There's a question about credits towards coactive. We will get to that. There are not credits towards coactive or IFIC, but you do get CCEUs for coaching. For those of you who are coaching or who are coaches, there is you do get quite a few CCEUs, which I'll talk about soon. Here's what to expect. Okay, so this course is 8 weeks long. You also have 2 weeks of pre-work that happens before the course begins. And these are not like, just read this little thing here and then you're done. Like, it's pre-work and it is work. And so you can expect a couple hours of pre-work, 5 to 6 hours of pre-work before that 8 weeks begins. Which I think starts at the end of February. I've got the dates coming up. Each week, there are about 6 to 8 hours of coursework. And this is not the case where you can say, I can do it in 4. And you can't. Sorry. You need that time, and it will take you that time. We have live Zoom sessions every week. We meet on Thursdays, 3:30 to 5:30 Pacific time. You also will be part of a learning triad. So you will be part of a group of 3 that will meet, not every week, but you will meet regularly. You also will have some assignments to complete and also course content. And so, like I mentioned before, recordings, some readings, and there's other pieces to complete that are asynchronous. And so those are parts you can complete on your own, as well as working with a client throughout the course. Most of this course is set up so that you can schedule it for when it works for you. The only piece that is firmly scheduled is the Thursday afternoon live sessions. Everything else is you finish it on your own time, on your own schedule, but within the week given to you. And so we really focus on cohort-based learning and really building that community. There's the asynchronous content, Zoom calls, learning triads. And then we also do join the small group meetings that you have. I will come and join you for one of those to kind of meet with you as a group of 3 to talk through any questions you might have, and anything you might be wondering about outside of sort of the bigger cohort, so we can kind of get a little bit more specific if that's what's needed.
I'm wondering, Andrea, we should also say that the live weekly Zoom sessions are also recorded.
Mm-hmm.
They're available for, like if you had to be away at that time, we prefer you were there, but if you can't be for whatever reason, you can watch it later.
Yeah, it really does. Thank you for saying that. That is important. And we really do, like, the Zoom calls are really experiential, and we want you to, and we want to engage with you. You're going to be practicing and talking about things. But yes, we have had people complete this course that are in Sweden, in Finland, and for them it's like 2:00 in the morning. And so we do always record it, and we're able to accommodate and work with you in what you need. But if you can make the effort and really prioritize being present in those live sessions, I think the learning is just that much richer. I know we had someone in Sweden last year who was awake at like 2:00 in the morning just so she could come to the live sessions, because they were just that much more valuable to be there in person. So, but yes, they are recorded. And if you do, we know that like things happen too. And so we just always ask like to be in conversation with us. And if stuff comes up, I'll tell you what to miss if you get really far behind. As long as you're communicating with us and letting us know what's going on, we're happy to work with you. We're adults. You're here, you're in the course, hopefully because you want to learn something new. And so that's what we want to see happen. And so we're not going to come and like chase, well, maybe we will, but probably not chase you around for your assignments and that. But instead, we really want to help you get through the course in a way that means that you have learned what you came to learn. All right. Here's what you get. There's been some questions around this. So, like I said, resources, interventions, tools, strategies, all those things. You do if anyone here is a certified ICF coach, you do receive 20 CCEU units for ICF members. 18 of those are CCEUs and 2 are in resource development. And if you're a coach, you'll know what that means. You also get a letter of completion from UBC. And you also become an advanced practitioner in the and certified in Hope Action theory and practice. And so the certification in Hope Action theory that you receive, this is the only class where you can become certified in Hope Action theory. This is the only way to do that. And we have offered these certifications all over the world. And so you do sort of enter into this interesting community of hundreds of people who have completed this training and who are practicing using the Hope Action theory all over the world. There's a large group in Singapore, there's in Europe and Australia and across Canada and I don't know. Anyways, there's so many countries. I can't actually count all the countries, but there is this just kind of really nice community that you become a part of when you complete this training as well. We do not talk about neuroscience and neurodivergence in career in this course specifically, but you will find that a lot of the principles are just really nicely supporting people who are neurodivergent. I work with clients who are neurodivergent, and that's becoming more of I think a topic that's being discussed in the coaching world. And so that's not something that we specifically address, but you'll find that this work does support that. I'm trying to see, yes, this program is only offered once in 2026. We only offer this course once per year. Norm and I are very much actively also teaching and working, and I know I have my own clients that I work with, and so not only am I only teaching, I also have a practice that I work from, and so we are only able to do this once a year because of that. And so if this timing doesn't work for you, then you would need to then wait till 2027, and we offer it every sort of February, March or so in every year. Here are some dates that you will need to know about. So in January 26th, the early bird rate ends, which gives you a $200 discount on the course. And then February 23rd is when the pre-work begins. And so that's that 2 weeks of pre-work we talked about. And then the course runs from March 2nd to no, not till June. Sorry, that last date is wrong. It starts in March 2nd, and then it runs 8 weeks. So sorry, that's the wrong date. But and then starting March 2nd, though, every Thursday for 8 weeks, there are those live sessions. There's the name of the book for you. Okay, we've tried to kind of answer questions and cover things. Shobna, Norm, is there anything that's been missed that we need to?
Well, I noticed that there's a question here about the job opportunities connected to this course. And
Mm,
I think people are just incorporating it into lots of different, in lots of different directions. It doesn't, say I'm a dental hygienist, like I'm a this as a result of taking the course, but I think it being applied with coaches, with counselors, it's being applied in HR, in many different fields within that. And for people who are working in organizations, people who are running their own companies, just so many different dimensions to it.
yeah. It has been really fun watching people who have completed this course over a number of years. And again, like it depends on who you are and the way that you are engaging in your career and the decisions. And there's a lot of different factors to it. But I know that for those who have really kind of actively embraced this work and taken it into their work, there's one woman in Australia who took our course and started using what she learned with her clients within an organization that she was doing career coaching in. And very quickly, people started noticing and asking her what she was doing that was different because she was having much more success with her clients in them returning to work. And she has since then, she's now is starting to train and mentor people within her organization and show them how to do what she's doing because she's just having so much success in her work. So that's one story, but there's a lot of those stories that exist out there. So depending on your situation and what you're hoping to achieve, this will help amplify the work that you're doing. Um, yeah, Haridi, I see your question. Sorry, I hope I pronounced your name right. It's a course to help you understand the human side and who you are and the qualities you need to thrive in the workplace or to help you make decisions in a more hopeful way and move forward in your life. We're just about at the end of time here, but I want to leave time for any other questions.
There's one more question from Jan in the chat as well, Andrea, about how many people there are in a typical cohort. Mhm.
There are typically, I would say, 20 or so, around like 18 to 25 people in a cohort. We like to kind of keep it at a size where we can really connect with people and work with them and in kind of closer ways. Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing that's nice about that size too, and also the triads that we form during the course that kind of helps us not only keep accountable, but keep moving forward with a little bit more intentionality. What I really appreciated too was the practical side of it, where you are engaging with a client and trying things out, and then reporting back into the cohort to see like what other people's experience were like, what conversations they had. That practical aspect is so useful and vital. It's almost a little safe space within the course that you can try things out and hear back live, like straight away from 24 other people about what their experience was like. And so I think that sort of learning is sort of tenfold when it comes to a course of this nature and for this sort of like length, because it really does enhance your learning as you go forward with these conversations.
There's a question here about credentials required to join the course. I don't think there, it's
No.
basically open to everybody. Last year we had somebody who was an engineer working in the mining industry. We've had people from schools, obviously, and from mental health and addictions and lots of different domains. And yeah, we kind of accept them all.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the thing to think about, like we talked about earlier, is like we do open the course up a little bit more broadly So the thing for you to think about is probably, is this a fit for you? Like, is this, are you comfortable working with somebody as a client in that way? Do you want to learn? Like, are you just taking this to take it? Or are you actually wanting to learn and engage in a community of learning in a deep way, like this? This does not count towards the organizational coaching program at UBC, and that's something actually I should be pretty clear about, is we do not teach coaching in this course. And so this is not a coaching course. This is a career course that will complement and work with you if you are a coach, or if you are a counselor, or if you are working with people in whatever way you're working. You will hear about coaching because that's how we approach this work. But in coaching, there is a framework that you follow and a process that you work through. And so we are not teaching coaching, we're teaching strategies for career coaching. And so it's a little bit different. And so if you're hoping to, or interested in becoming a coach, then the organizational coaching program at UBC is fantastic. And it's a great program. It's very thorough, and it actually just won an international award for coaching and for the coaching education this year. And so that might be something you want to look into as well. Some people take a coaching program and then they come and take the career coaching practitioner course. Some people take the career coaching practitioner course and then they go into coaching after that. Both ways work. There's not kind of, one's not better than the other, but just so you know, this is not a coaching certification that you'll be receiving after this course. This is something that's meant to kind of add on to what you're already doing in maybe these spaces, in just having conversations with people.
Andrea, do you mind if I ask a question just related to that?
Yeah.
The skills that we would learn in this program, are they appropriate to weave into kind of a traditional coaching session that you would have with someone? Because I agree with you, a lot of those career kind of conversations tend to come up. Can you combine them in a way, I guess?
Yes, you can. And so, and we do talk a bit about, like, we'll talk a bit about that as well. But yes, they absolutely can be brought into a coaching conversation. The career, like what you're going to learn, is probably a little bit more of a structure initially that you'll learn and learn how to work through. But once you sort of understand the different elements and the ways that you're going to, like, just once you understand and have experienced working with the strategies and tools, then you have a little bit more freedom to, in a coaching session, you may be having a coaching session about something completely different. And maybe like a metaphor might come up, and you'll have that much more understanding of how to expand that metaphor, how to go deeper in that session. And I know I say to clients, like, okay, here's what coaching is, but also I know things. And so if I hear you like talking about something, and I know like a tool, or I know an approach that might be helpful, I'm going to probably suggest that, and we can kind of work through that together. But for clients who are really interested in making career decisions, I might even say, like, look, we can kind of do coaching around that. But I also have a bit of a structure that I know works with clients, and that we can kind of work through. And so what happens is, even the workbook that we'll use in the course, that provides sort of a nice external structure to give clients. And then you can choose how much you want to actually engage in the structure of it, or you might want to just have coaching conversations around what they're learning from that workbook. But the language in the book does point them back to their coach and say, this is something you might want to take back to your coach and expand further with them. And so you can kind of choose how deeply you want to engage in it. And there is kind of, space for that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, John. Yeah, John was in the organizational coaching program. So those are some of the conversations we'll have. Like, coaching has one way of thinking about things, counseling has another, but also you may have a totally different way that you work with clients. And so we're really looking at, like, how can we use this to help you do your work and be more effective, and really equip you with the understanding and the strategies and the ways of working with people so that you can be as effective as you can in your work.
Andrea, can you speak a bit more about the coaching framework? Like, when I logged on at the beginning, we talked a bit about coaching and counseling backgrounds. Can you speak a bit more about that? I guess.
Yeah. So coaching has a bit more of a framework that you work through in a conversation more so. And Jen, I know you have a therapy background, and so that's just so everybody else kind of understands where this is coming from. And so in therapy, well, I won't speak to what you do in therapy, but in coaching, then in terms of the framework, there is a little bit more structure, and there is a bit more of a thinking about how to begin the conversation, identifying maybe a topic that you want to focus on, spending time exploring and thinking through what that topic is. And then there is a bit more of an action process at the end of, like, okay, what are you going to do with this information? And so there is a process that happens with coaching. It's very much non-directional, viewing the client as being resourceful and whole and able to kind of find their way through, and the role of the coach being to come alongside, ask questions, and help them find their way through. Wherein a therapist might be a little bit more introducing tools and approaches in a bit more of a direct way, or strategies for the client to take and explore. Or anyways, does that help? It's there's a lot, so I'm trying to say it.
Yeah, I understand. Like, there's a real complexity to coaching and a complexity to counseling. Yeah, because what I'm hearing is that this isn't really, like, this isn't teaching coaching, and yet it's an approach. It's a coaching kind of approach. Is that accurate? That's probably oversimplifying it.
It's not teaching coaching, but it's also, like, it's not teaching counseling, and it's not teaching, it's really showing you ways of being with other people that you can, and strategies that you can use in your interactions with them to support them as they navigate life. And if you have coaching skills, then you can kind of connect those together. If you're a counselor, you can bring those together. And if you're a people manager, you have skills working with people, and you can connect those in to what you learn in this course.
Great. Okay, thanks. That helps.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to answer one last question. I think we have like 30 seconds. I sometimes chat with professionals transitioning into or looking to succeed in technical roles. How could this add value to those conversations? Shobna, do you want to answer this one?
Sure.
I'm putting you on the spot.
No problem at all. I looked at that question. I was like, yeah, absolutely. I think this is probably what this course can actually do for you, because when you are thinking about succeeding in not only new roles, but even it's just a diversion of what it is that you're used to, there are so many unknowns. And so having these tools that you get from this course can help you navigate those unknowns with a little bit more clarity. But also, what I really love about the Hope Action Theory is that it is still rooted in action. And so, thinking about how they can vision themselves in this next role, what is it that they would need for support? Having that kind of idea as to how to go through the Hope Action Theory with them, to then see how you can not only build hope, but like the confidence and the discovery of like the fact that they would actually have those skills to do it, but then take it a step further into like an action. So like, what is it that they would need to move towards that direction? So I think a lot of the skills that you would learn in this course can help you navigate these conversations. And even just adding to what Jan was saying too, yes, you're right. This is not a coaching course, but I think right from the beginning, I said it was kind of like a layer, like an additional layer to it. So there's a depth here that you can go into with the tools and strategies to help both you and the client navigate these conversations with a bit more confidence, but also a lot more clarity, because you have a way of conversing with them in a way that makes them not only feel like they matter, but what decision they are making is important to them in a way that resonates with who they are. So I think that's the addition that that I would like to add for this conversation.
Thanks, Shobna. All right, we are at time here. Norm, do you want to close us off? Any final words?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I just think you're really going to enjoy this course. I mean, we've evaluated it. We've been running this now for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, Andrea, and the feedback we've been getting has been absolutely fantastic. So I just would encourage you, if it fits for you, this is the place to be. And if not, maybe it will a little bit later.
Thanks everybody for coming and spending an hour with us. And feel free to reach out if you have questions. And hopefully we'll see you in a few weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Nice to see you all.